For me, Malmö is a very open city if you compare to other cities in Stockholm. I'm born and raised in Stockholm. So for me, Malmö is a very open city. You can do. I think for me, it feels like I have more freedom with expressing here, and like have more possibilities to kind of produce and create here. Yeah. So I don't know. It's I dance in the street, like or. Practice with my friends in the street, but we also produce this dance festival, Malmö Dance Week, that also kind of we have a big thing on Participatory where we kind of have a lot of different happenings. So I mean it's different. Yeah. You can do everything, I guess. Like the regular or like the common stage, like the black box or the theater, maybe that is the least interesting places for street dance. Yeah. Even if I do that as well. Yeah. I guess it would look. I'm always afraid that things are gonna get stiff and slow, slow and boring. So find ways to not. So that's not the case. I don't know what that is, but I think it needs to have an openness to what is created and what is presented and how and with who, and I think it needs to be a very open space. And I think what's going to be the tricky part is also that. Because I also very much try to fight for the artists to also have this like safety, like income and a safety net, or like this, like any other job. So the tricky part is to build or like to create this platform that is very open and kind of open towards everything and everyone, and at the same time kind of have this place where it can kind of help the street artists to live. Yeah. What I look for when I create and what I think, it doesn't necessarily have to be like institutional art, street art, or and that institutional art create this and street art create this. It can also be like street art and that's affected by something, and then it can kind of not be my idea of street art, or the same thing with this. You know what I mean? It's the categories are a bit like categories are always like separating and maybe not always for the good. So what I look for is kind of honesty, or like the I want to feel, I want to believe that it's like real, kind of, or like. So the last year it's been like the word I've been using for what I look for is honesty, and that could kind of be pretty much anything, but it's like a. You can kind of feel it. You feel when I can feel when I'm there, and you can also feel when I'm there. So it's also the social aspect. So it's very hard for me to be honest if you're not kind of respond to it honestly. You know what I mean? It's also the same when you create in a collective, because that's also what I try to always have the collective aspect of the process, because I think it's important to that everyone is kind of owning the process and care about the process. And if we're not honest, we're not going to be able to create kind of the interesting things. That is kind of my idea of what I look for in art. And then if it's street art or not, I don't know if that's really important.
public space for urban art. I think the place we stand at is a very, very important place. Have been for many people, have been for me, especially for me, for many years now. I've been around this place, and it gives me everything. But we're asking for more. We want more. We want more here. Much, much more. Architecture and urban art is goes like hand in hand, and I can see it everywhere in the environment, where you can do different change to the place already existing. Behind me there's a big factory called Pågens, and now they're talking moving that factory away from Malmö because they are not allowed to rebuild it in the way they want. So it's opening a lot of possibilities in the urban area of Malmö, especially in this area. A lot of potential. Urban Art Center in Malmö should be both low, what we call low, like a street art. Anyone can come, anyone can look, anyone can get inspired. And it should also be high level, where the real artist comes and visit us and leave their gifts on the walls and in the square or whatsoever. But it needs more. You have to arrange it in a way. It needs more organization here, absolutely, much more. If there's enough urban art in Malmö, compared to what? No, there's room for much more, much more. Public space is a public room, and of course, if you put wrong thing in the public room, people react. But most of the time, they can kind of appreciate beautiful things, beautiful art, beautiful buildings in their close area. I am very trustful in that. I believe strong in that, to get people's awareness up, putting things close to them. Not have to go to different places, should be everywhere. It's very easy.
I think a city needs like a good mix of like the old houses that you were talking about, and also like newer houses, to get like, because I feel like sometimes like the older houses in areas where it's a lot of like fancy old houses, and if there's like graffiti and like urban art, it can sometimes kind of clash a little bit. But I think that if a city has a nice mix of like old and new houses and different styles, and then it can look like really good with like different kind of art like incorporated to it as well.
I mean, what I would want out of an urban art center is probably a place where it's easy for people to even try the things out themselves, to get them into doing these kind of creative things. Because for me, when I did some music before, like making music before that was quite hard, because I always thought that, I have to learn how to do this, and like buying instruments and stuff like that. And it would be nice to have like some kind of facility that could just show us other kinds of things you could use, like let's say like music programs on your computer and stuff like that, and just like crash course that, so people have like the tools to do something creative. Same with like painting and other stuff like that. Maybe tattoo artists is a bit harder, because there's a lot of rules when it comes to hygiene and stuff, so you can't just put up a tattoo machine and let everyone try it out. But I think just making it easier for people to get into making art and or do something creative.
Yeah, and like help people doing it and like making it accessible for everyone. So like ideally it wouldn't cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it would definitely be cool to have like workshops and stuff. And also, I think it would be nice if it had a lot of different kind of art, like graffiti and music, and there could be like there could be concerts and yeah, even like tattoo things, like
Yeah, it's the place where artists can show their work.
yeah, exactly,
like-
and yeah, just like having it accessible for for everyone, and yeah, I think like being able to interact with it would be cool.
Aesthetic qualities, I think, just the art that's being made there and the people that's there and like helping out and showing like how to make the art. I mean, their art and also the people that comes there and tries it out. I think because like even though maybe it's the first time doing something, it can still be very genuine. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just yeah, like I'm just like envisioning like a big place that's in the city that has like different sections, and maybe there's like a big room, almost like an art hall. What is it called? Yeah.
Yeah, like
Um,
atelier.
Yeah, exactly. With like big windows and stuff, and then maybe there's some kind of basement, and maybe there's music studios and places where you can host concerts.
Yeah,
And
like a stage or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just a place where all kinds of different traditions of art can meet. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. For me, I'd say urban art. Not only, but like it's partly the kind of art that is not like the trained kind of art, you know, like people like going to school and like studying it and like trying to be in the forefront of everything. I think urban art is just the kind of very like innocent art that doesn't really have to have a lot of thought behind it. It's just more like the raw creative expression of it. That's yeah, that's probably the best answer I can come up with. What I think urban art is.
Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, I think it's also like kind of norm breaking art. Could be urban art. Like when I think urban art, like the, the first thing that comes to mind is like graffiti and hip hop and stuff like that. But yeah, I also think like as you said, like not like it doesn't have to be um, um, like it's not trained artists. It's just people who have this like creative urge and to do something just to get that out and not for maybe like making money or anything like that. It's more like I just need to get this out of me, and then they do it, and it doesn't have to be perfect, or it doesn't need to be approved by like critics or other artists or anything. It could just like be just like very raw and
I'd say like just make people just stop and look at it for a while and yeah, something that's just yeah, I don't know, thought provoking. I don't know, like it doesn't have to be like because like sometimes when you're walking around the city, you're just walking from point A to point B, but it would be so nice to just like stop sometimes and see something beautiful or something interesting, and you stop and like try to interact with it. I think that's something that would be nice for like public art, the art in public spaces to convey.
The public graffiti walls in Folkspark. There are two different sections of it. There's the flat one and then the curved in the roundabout. Same wall, but completely different in the messages that are portrayed. So in the roundabout, since 8 years, Kämpa Malmö, where there was an incident where someone was attacked. A lot of people know the story. And nowadays, most of the art that comes up there is in terms of solidarity and justice and all these things that we are striving for. And now that's also a place for activism and for manifestations, and art made it possible. Public art specifically. So I invite everything that makes it possible for us to meet in a society that sometimes feel like it's becoming more and more individualized. A word that comes to mind is playfulness, and interaction without judgment feels synonymous to freedom. A place where everyone can come. It provides not only culturally and creative. It's not only important in those aspects. It also provides infrastructure for the city to flourish. That is engaging with people of all demographic background and age, and that is like a growing ground for the society that we want to live in, and maybe potentially a place where the public can have influence, because the city sure has a 10 or 20 year plan and contingencies for whatever. And it's reliant on the centralized structure that the political and economic system that we live in, and that's the way it is. And I just wish that there were more places that was openly inviting and created opportunities for people to learn skills, to develop themselves, get closer to their emotions, and be able to participate in creative workshops of whatever expression to find their peace inside. Because for me, that's to a large extent what art is about. And if it's in a public space and available to everyone, then it's just like, come enjoy life, come get more out of it. So a beautiful place. Because that's also something that we do in the physical space. I've been thinking as a gender non-conforming person how I interact with my environment by just being in it. So, like, and everyone does that to a different extent. And the more we contrast, the more the more people perceive it. And I like that about Malmö specifically, because it's such a diverse city of all expressions, and it's a perfect place and natural place for an urban art center and anything of the like. Yes, there could be certainly more urban art. I'd like to be able to see it anywhere, in any angle in the city. There'll be a notion of urban art.